All right. So if you're a Rotarian with us today, again, I'm having some issues with my computer, so I apologize. But if you're a Rotarian with us today, I'd invite you now to go ahead and unmute your microphone. And we're going to begin our Eco-Friendly Rotary Club meeting with the 4-way test. So of all the things we think, say, and do, is it the truth?
Is it true?
Is it fair
to
to
all
all
concerned?
Feel good for the benefit.
Be
Beneficial to all concerned.
Would be beneficial to all concerned.
Good job. Good job. Yeah, I muted one person there. No big deal. So yeah, let's go ahead and begin. I don't see our sergeant at arms today. So let's go ahead and begin with birthdays and anniversaries. We'll get it kicked off with some fun stuff. Birthdays and anniversaries.
Dave Andrews, did you have a birthday? Oh, you talked about it last week, so we can.
Yeah, he did talk about last week. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just a few days older now.
That's all right. Someone's on my video. I'm gonna have to turn it off.
All right. Good. Let's go ahead and move on. We'll do. How about we do sad bucks?
Mike had his hand up and he's muted. So, Michael.
My grandson Connor in Columbia, Missouri, was 10 years old this past weekend.
Congratulations.
Cool. Plays baseball. Is a really smart, loving, nice kid.
Oh wow, that's great.
Casey's boy.
Yeah,
that's wonderful. All right. How about sad bucks?
I have a sad buck.
Oh, okay. All right, go ahead, Mike.
I lost a wonderful friend in Melbourne over the weekend, Phil Farber. He was a FIT psychologist and teacher. And we used to play softball together in the 40 and over and 50 and over leagues. And he was a wonderful human being. According to the post by his son on Facebook, it was dementia and Alzheimer's.
Ooh, that's a wicked comment.
Kurt.
Yeah, so sorry. Any other sad bucks?
I have one quickly, Sam.
Yeah, please.
This will save us an email. I have a sad dollar because we wanted to use our DDF for a global grant and it is no longer allowed. So we got to find a different way to work that out.
Interesting. Okay.
Jula, for the sake of people who don't know, what is a DDF again? Including me, I don't remember.
District designated funds. It's money. So when our club members donate to the Rotary Foundation, we get a return on our investment and we're allowed to use that for projects locally and globally. However, you cannot use the district designated funds for a global grant, but you can use them for other things, Josh Yacht or some of the more local stuff. So we can figure that out as a group of how we want to do that. We can still contribute to that global grant. It would just have to be with cash. So
good, no problem. Thanks for sharing. All right, how about happy? Do you have any happy bucks?
I don't have a video, so I can't raise my hand. I guess I could raise my hand with the thing, but I was really happy to see everybody. It was so much fun to get together and see you and your family and just, you know, to have Gael there and just have us all get together for once. So that was really great. It was very fun.
I second that 100%. And I see we got, so Ailish, Jen, Denise, how about that? Ailish?
Hey. I'm just posting something for everybody. I just got published last week in there was a literary magazine for University College in Dublin, and I'm thrilled, absolutely thrilled, delighted.
Yay!
Fabulous.
Awesome.
That's great.
She's an award-winning poet many times over. Yes.
Yes.
And Jen, go ahead, Jen.
Is it my turn? Okay. Yeah.
I
am happy to be back with Rotary. I've missed a couple meetings, and Today I am literally at Pinckney Island Wildlife Refuge, and my husband and I are mountain biking. We're in Bluffton,
Awesome.
South Carolina, and it is a beautiful day. But I am listening in.
This woman's calling. She's mountain biking with her husband in North Carolina.
Yep.
She's
So
wearing her
that's a
bike
happy
helmet
dollar for me.
in the
That is
middle of the
dedicated.
woods somewhere.
Love it. All right. And Denise, go ahead.
I'll be listening in.
Okay.
Yeah, so
don't
mine is
focus on us.
basically, it's like the same as Jen. I'm happy to be finally back at Rotary after a couple of weeks, and I've had a wonderful holiday. And unfortunately, due to the time difference, I could not attend while I was in Thailand, because basically I was in bed every day by 10 o'clock, and the meeting would have been at midnight. So it's I would not have been able to make it, but yeah, it was a wonderful holiday, and but I'm happy to be back as well.
Wonderful. All right, Susie.
Yeah, I have a, it's a slightly sad dollar going into happy. I'm going to miss the next 2 meetings because I'm going to be traveling. I have to go Sunday, Monday, and returning Tuesday afternoon to Chicago for some work-related thing. And then the rest, then I turn around and leave on the 10th, which is the very next day, for England to go horse riding in Ireland, and back on the 17th. So I'm going to miss the 9th, and I'll miss the 15th meetings. So, but all in the name of just me having fun. Sorry.
Love it.
That's good.
Love it. Wonderful. Wonderful. Any other happy bucks or any other announcements for the good of the order here? All right. With that, Jula, should I turn over to you for our introduction? Is that okay? Or I don't want to put you on the spot. I'm not sure who is.
Denise, did you get anything to intro
No,
with?
I'm sorry.
I
no,
did.
didn't.
I did. I did. Hang on. I just wasn't.
Oh, okay. Susie did.
ready.
Go ahead,
Okay.
Susie.
Oh, sorry, Artem.
Let it rip.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Susie.
hang on. I'll look it up because I wasn't ready for it. Hang on. I have just a few lines he sent me, which was perfect. His name is Artem Ziablov, and forgive me if I didn't pronounce that correctly. Born on June 13th in 2004. And originally, my screen just went away. Originally from the city of Irpin, Kiev region, and Ukraine. Second-year student at Kharkiv National University, Faculty of Mathematics and Informatics. And he came to Denmark on March 11th of 2022 due to the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and works part-time now in a warehouse and studies at the Ukrainian University. So Artem, welcome to our group, and we're looking forward to hearing from you.
Yes, thank you. That was fantastic. Shall I share screen already? Yes.
Sam, can you do that?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, let me see.
Yeah. Yes. I need host disable participant screen sharing.
Yeah, Sam's setting you up for that.
Oh,
You
yeah.
should have it.
Try it again.
Yes. Can you see
we go.
it?
Yeah, got it. Yep, perfect.
1 second. Oh, yeah. So, here is in Danish. No. Hello, everybody. My name is Artem, and I came from Ukraine. Now I'm located in Denmark. So we can start. I want to tell you a little bit about me, about my story. And the first topic I want to tell is my family. So I have a quite not big family, as you can see. So from the left to right, I hope, it's my mother. Then goes my dog and cat. So right now my mother is in Switzerland, and my dog and cat are with my grandmother in Ukraine. And yeah, so as Susie mentioned, I am a student of Kharkiv National University. It's located in a city called Kharkiv and named out of one Ukrainian scientist. And it's located in Kharkiv. So, and I'm studying mathematics and computer science, and I'm a second-year student. And also it was mentioned that I'm originally from Irpin because I was raised there and I was attending a school down there. And like to give some more info about the city, It is located in about 10 kilometers out from the Kiev, which is the capital of Ukraine. So it's such small and cutie city with a lot of parks and with a nice nature, and yeah. So, and another photo is Kharkiv, which is the city where I lived for the last half a year of my life in Ukraine, because I attended university in that city, and Kharkiv is the biggest city, the second biggest city in Ukraine, and it's probably very close to the Russian border. It's located 20 kilometers out from that place. And yeah, so started the big war and my home. As you know, the war started at 24th of February, and I was supposed to be in Kharkiv. But just a week before, my mother really asked me that I should go back to visit her in Irpin, because she thought that it would be a much more safer place if something will happen, because to be honest, a lot of people understood that something is coming, and but the question was, nobody understood how huge it will be. So just for some safe, I went to my mother, and I met the war in the city. With I woke up at 5 o'clock when my mother just entered my room with the words that Kharkiv is under attack, and I just opened my eyes and looked in a window in my room, and in this moment I just heard how Russians were bombing the city, which is located 7 kilometers from particularly my house, and I understood that war is started. And the most strange stuff that just 3 days before 24th of February, I woke up. I made a clock at 5 o'clock to wake up and to check out if the war will start in 19th of February, but it's not happened. And then I saw that war will not start, but it does in 24th. And already when I woke up, to be honest, I was really panicking, because my hands were shaking, because I didn't understood what is going on. And because in my head, I had some plans that, that Russians will not enter my city in first day. So there will be some time to understand the situation, to think and to make some plan. But in real, it's happened so fast. And I was speaking and chatting with my friends who was in that time in Kharkiv, where it was more dangerous in that time, because even in the first day, Russian troops, some part of them attended the city, and it was very difficult to speak with friends who are right now down there. And we were making we were sitting with my mother, and we were making some plans of evacuating of our friends in Kharkiv, for example, and trying to find some cars, some taxis, some bus, some tickets for train, because everything was you couldn't find anything. And if, for example, some schoolmates don't have car, they cannot drive out the city, and the city was closed, and it was pretty. I was very afraid of my friends, and in the first day, what we did, we took all our clothes, which we will need if we will plan to leave the home. And on the first night, we went with my mother to a bomb shelter. Bomb shelter is not like a huge, deep place underground. It's just a typical -1 floor in an old Soviet buildings. So yeah, and we went there with 2 backpacks where was just some laptops in case if we would like to see some Netflix or maybe just to do some other stuff. And we took, of course, our passports because we need documents. And I called my friend and I asked him, can you please help us to get out from the city? Because there is, it will be dangerous because already in the first day we heard how missiles was we heard an explosions of missiles, and it wasn't nice when some fighters are flying just like 100 meters up your head. And yeah, and I asked my friends, could you take us and we will drive out from the city? And he thought that, oh, I don't know, we are already 6 people in one car. Sorry, 7 people in one car. And I was like, okay, so it's gonna be impossible. But he's quite very good friend of mine, and actually he came, and we were 9 people in one car, and we decided to move from a small town. And I'll show you next slide. It's a photo from Kharkiv. It's actually one of the corpuses of my university. So, for example, in this building, students who study economy was situated. And yeah, it's maybe photos of first week when the war started. Yeah, and yeah, here is, you can imagine on this photo, all the people who are in this photo, we were in one car. And it wasn't a big car. It wasn't some kind of SUV or truck. No way. It was just an ordinary car. Like if you can see a young lady with a baby here sitting with small boy, it's her son. And for example, they were sitting in a back. And we didn't have almost any clothes. So in my backpack, I had only computer and passport. That's all we had. And as well as most part of these people. And this photo is taken in a city called Khmelnyk. It's in a central part of Ukraine. And because we were planning to go to Lviv, it's kind of most famous city in the western part of our country. And but it's quite a long way to drive and we need some rest. So we stopped in a city, and just an ordinary people gave us a flat, an empty flat where we can sleep, and bring us really a lot of food, and with some chocolates, and yeah, there was plenty of some coffee, and because people who are there, like they didn't experience anything, and they really understood us and tried to do their best in attempt to help us. So yeah, and why we were planning going to Lviv, despite the fact that it's the most famous city in western part, is that there is living a perfect guy called Lars Vesberg. You can see him in the photo. And he's a Danish guy who lives in Ukraine for about more than 20 years. And he was my stepfather when between 10 and 13 years old when I was. And we were living together in Lviv. So we were in quite good connections all the way along. And I asked him that would we stay for some days at his place because we were quite many and we didn't know where to stay. And he said, yes, of course, come here. And we spent a wonderful week together. When the war started, it's a huge stress because like in the first day, I didn't know what will happen with my country. I thought, okay, there is chance that there will be no Ukraine soon. and or there is a chance that there will be only half Ukraine and other half of Ukraine will be occupied, and who knows how it will happen. So and also it was difficult to hear news when some of your friends were injured by rockets and who are, for example, in meanwhile is in operation center, like in a hospital. And of course it was very difficult, but we were in a very nice team and it was kind of family. So it was easier when we were together to go through all these dark times. And we were cooking a lot. Like we were making some Ukrainian food and we were going through Lviv, have some walk, and it was some time to get through the stress. And then we were there for 1 week because in Ukraine we have a rule: if you are a male and from 18 to 60, you are not allowed to leave the country in a war period. So at that time I was 3 months, approximately 3 months before my 18 years old. And my best friend, he's here in the center of the photo. He was about 18 days before, little bit more than 2 weeks before his birthday. And we were thinking to go to Poland. So as we did, my mother's company, they were making buses who were evacuating people from all over Ukraine to Poland, and to Poland mostly. So we just went to such bus, and 6th of March, I crossed the border with Poland, and we went to Katowice. It's a city in Poland. And at that time, I didn't knew what I will be doing abroad, because first you don't know and you don't understand what will happen with my country, and I didn't have any place to stay. I didn't have any relatives in Europe, in other countries, despite Ukraine. So we didn't know where to go. But Lars told me that he will try to find some people in Denmark who could host me for some periods of time. So that's how I left Ukraine. And after I spent in Poland about 2 days, and then I went with my friend and his mother to Germany, because my friend has an uncle living there for a long time. And why I left my mother? Because our dog and cat was still in the city, which was under bombs, because we were not expecting that we will leave the city. It was very fast decision, because there was a question if we are leaving or not. If we will not leave, who knows what will happen with us. So for example, all the time while in our city was battlefields, our neighbors were sitting in a deep kind of I don't know how it's called in English, we in a village in some deep place underground, and it wasn't nice for them. So our dog and cat was taken care by our neighbors for about first week. And then there was some volunteers who were coming to our city, who was evacuating people who wanted to, who was also evacuating pets who were without their holders. So our dog and cat was evacuated to Kyiv, and my mother was planning to return to Ukraine to pick them up and to go somewhere else. So I went with my friend to Germany, and after that, Lars called me, and he thought that he was contacted Pierre and Annette with a question if they know somebody who can help me in Denmark. And Pierre and Annette says, yes, they know somebody, and it was themselves. So I came to Denmark. It was 11th of March. Actually, I came to Flensburg. It's a border city. It's a city on the border between Germany and Denmark, where Pierre and Annette picked me up because there was, at that time, there wasn't rule for Ukrainians still. And there was chance that I could be sent to some asylum center. So to escape that opportunity, Annette and Pierre picked me up in a German city just after the border. And you can see a lot of clothes on a photo on the table because, yeah, I didn't have any clothes with me from Ukraine. I just had my passports and laptop because I'm studying on computer science, and the only stuff what I was thinking about to take from home, it was laptop. So, and it was my first morning in Denmark when I woke up, and we went with Pierre and Annette to a local shop where you can buy clothes in a small town, and we picked some clothes, and the owner of the shop, he just didn't, it was like free of charge. We didn't pay for anything, and it was, for me, it was very touchful because I first time experienced that people are, we can say, together with Ukrainians and try in many ways to help them, and that they understand what we are going through. And yeah, it was very touchful. So, and impressed. And also in a photo, you can, it was taken with Ukrainian photo with Ukrainian flag. It was taken in Germany because I was very curious when I saw plenty of Ukrainian flags in abroad, because before it was only like I could see it in an embassy building or some stuff like that. And when I saw a lot of flags, it was also very, for me, it was very touchful. So I'm living in Denmark for about more than a year. So I should have some activities for this time, and some of that is, for example, we were sailing on boats with actually with one Rotarian. He asked Pierre if we would like to, and we said, of course, yes, like to sail, it's nice. And there was, and he actually also raised a Ukrainian flag on a matched. You can see it in photo, but it was also kind of very. I like it. So, and another photo is middle summer day in Denmark. So in middle of summer, they celebrating some event, and you can see some small kind of a bridge here, and with a mic. And there was a Ukrainian lady from Kiev. She was giving a speech, and it was nice to see some Ukrainian people in 100 meters and say her hello, but I think she didn't mention me. And yeah, and also for my time in Denmark, like most of my time I was living with Annette and Pierre, but when Annette and Pierre were traveling, for example, to US or somewhere in Europe, I was living with Rotarian, with other Rotarians, and it was quite a nice, yeah, quite nice time, because I learned quite a lot from different culture, because it's not to live with Ukrainian people, it's another country. Even if Denmark locates in two countries from Ukraine, still it's quite different, and it was, I like it, so it was fascinating. Yeah, and I was living with Annette and Pierre for about 7 months, and then became a question to about that I have to split and to find my own place and live, and to start and to at least try to start my own life while the war is going on in Ukraine. And it was quite a complicated deal because I'm studying a lot. I'm still a Ukrainian student, so our university makes for us online education, and yeah, and it's quite good quality now. And we spend a lot of time on our lectures, so I couldn't work a full-time job, but the local job center in a municipality of the city where we lived found me a kind of job in a firm called T. Hansen, and it's kind of a job in a warehouse, not a difficult job, like to sort some kind of products and to put some sticker on them, and it's quite well paid. So it's it was I could be able to find some place to live and to pay for my bills. And here you can see a small photo of my room. Because I'm very miss Ukraine, because my country, I raised the flag, and it's kind of a reminder that one day it will all finish, and it makes me more happier. So it's a student, it's apartment for students where it's quite cheaper to pay the rental price, and it's not so far from my job, and it was a very nice opportunity. And Pierre and Annette, they helped me with for first time of like Rotary, we can say, helped me with the payment of facilities and rental price for first 7 months of mine being in Denmark. So for like first 7 months when I was living in this flat, I wasn't paying for rental, and for this time I could save some money and understand how much and for what I need to pay, and like it was very helpful and made the life easier. Yeah, and that's for now almost all what I have in Denmark and during the wartime. And I wanted to say a big thank you for all people who understand what we are going through now, and who are trying to help us, and who do it, and who even speak about it, because it's very important. And yeah, thank you everybody. And I would say a phrase in Ukrainian, Slava Ukraini, glory to Ukraine.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. What a wonderful presentation. I really, really enjoyed that. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, let me, oh, look at you, Denise. What a, what a pro. Like I said, I'm having problems with my computer. It's acting funny, but let's go ahead and see if we have questions.
Do you have an image?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Stop sharing, maybe, or do you want to go back to the? No.
All right, I'm just looking for hands. Let me see if I can see any hands up for questions. I see Ailish.
Thank you so much for that extraordinary presentation, extraordinary insight into what you went through, and at the same time, what others in Ukraine have gone through. You know, we watched the war now for so long, so many long months, and empathized with you, prayed for you, cried for you. You sent money to organizations to help you, but it's only when you see a young face and that you have your whole life ahead of you, and it began in such extraordinarily painful and hurtful, and such a distasteful way from such a disdainful man who just took the joy in life away from so many people for so long. I just wish you luck and thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your really insightful, enlightening comments and helping us to understand, because each war is awful, but it affects people individually as individuals, and it's the individual pain that really brings home to all of us, I think, a more broad overall picture. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, thank you too. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Eilish. Anyone else have any questions for Artem? Lynn Kenny?
Yes, thank you for your presentation. I too was very moved by having a young person tell us what the experience was like. I wondered if you have any family members that have remained in Ukraine that are fighting the war at this time.
I have a very difficult situation with my family. Like in Ukraine, I have only my grandmother, but sadly to say, or yeah, it's just a fact, my father is a Russian, and I wasn't speaking with him before, but after it, and I have quite big family lives out there, and we just stopped speaking, and we don't do it now because yeah, those guys think that we are Nazis, and so that's why I don't have like people who from my family who are fighting, but I have a lot of friends who are in the army, and my mother have a lot of her colleagues, like she have some colleagues who are unfortunately died on war. And if to say about my experience and who I knew, it's I had a teacher of geography in a school, and he was also not so far from my city in Kiev region, living with his family, and he went to the same kind of bomb shelter as I was with my mother, and he was there with his son, who is approximately my age, and with his wife. But and then Russian air bomb came, and the whole 9-story building just was like completely destroyed, and they died there. So any rescuers could come for 30 days after this happened, because there was a battle in the city. And only after a liberation of that town, the rescuers find the bodies of them. So it was pretty difficult to realize.
Well, thanks for sharing that. I know it was difficult, given what's happening right now.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't have anybody who's fighting. Like I only have some friend's story who was in occupation zones. So
thank you. Per?
Thank you, Julia. I think it might be interesting for you to know how it has been to host
Absolutely.
And for me, a boy who had to run out of his country because of a stupid war and get to a family in another culture who had a completely another understanding than he had, and just sitting there with his backpack and his passport and his computer. And it actually took a long time, I think, Artem will agree, for him to trust us. That's absolutely a feeling I have. I might be wrong, but I'm not sure I am, because foreign people has been very, very bad to him and his people in Ukraine, and now he suddenly flew far away, did not know anything, did not know anybody, blah, blah, blah. So it has been a long walk through all the difficulties you are having as a foreigner in another country. Because one thing is to be put into a family you do not know. Another thing is the strange attitude from the authorities. And I'm not sure, we have been talking about that, Artem and I, and I'm not sure that he would have survived in the Danish community if it wasn't because I have had the time to support him or follow him through the authorities who had a strange attitude, to be honest. So really slowly along the way, after a lot of arguing also between me and Artem because of cultural differences, we have now reached a point where we are happy together. Artem calls us regularly and say, are you going to watch the soccer game next week? I will be happy to go there and have a dinner and blah, blah, blah. He's contacting us, and we have a feeling in it, and that he is a part of our family, and we love to do whatever we can to accommodate the guy. And I think we have received or got an impression how it is to be a refugee from your country where you almost want to be.
Yeah, I can't imagine how difficult it must be to be put in that situation. And I'm sorry for you, Artem. I'm sorry for your family. I'm sorry for your fellow countrymen. It's a horrible situation, but I'm really happy you're able to talk about it because it helps people. Your story needs to be told. Your countrymen's stories need to be told. Ailish, I see you have a question.
Yes, no, it's actually more information. My friend Finola, who isn't on the call today, who's also a Rotarian, and she is from Dublin in Ireland. She's here at the moment. About 6 months ago, she took in a young disabled Ukrainian, a refugee, and he's in her house now, and he will stay with her until he's able to go back home or until he wants to move on. And in fact, she was able to help him to sort out his paperwork to get a job as well in Dublin. So hats off to Finola for opening her heart and her home to a young disabled Ukrainian refugee. I just wanted you all to know that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ailish. And Sam, you have a question?
Yes, Artem, this is for you. And I know I'm so sorry that I had to switch over to my phone. My computer's acting up. I apologize. But the question I have is, what's your perspective? Just, I guess, to be blunt, as a young person who is perhaps more technologically adept, more comfortable with things like social media, the internet, and staying connected with others. Can you give me just like a big picture for you? Like, do you think now we had a presentation from a friend of mine who was working on the ground in Ukraine on the front lines, investigating war crimes and things like that. And what he pointed out to us was that this was a very new thing because technology was such a huge part of it, whether it was from drones and the kinetic war or cybersecurity and cyber attacks in the logical or the technical world. But from your perspective, can you tell me, like, what impact do you think is happening in very real sense because of all those social media influences? Or can you tell me about disinformation that you might see? Or can you tell me about any of those kind of contexts? That's what I'm interested to hear about, because I've never met a Ukrainian person who's gone through what you've gone through. But I'm curious about what you feel is the impacts of social media, the impact of the internet, the impact of videos on YouTube, TikTok, etc. What are your thoughts?
Actually, very nice question. Do you know a kind of app called Telegram? it's kind of WhatsApp or Viber. It's a web, an app which is most widely used in Ukraine. And for example, I have a few channels with news where I can see just a politician's news. And also I have some few channels where which called a war fundraising channels. It's like when soldiers from the front line, for example, you can imagine a drone, and there is several ways to use an ordinary DJI Mavic, for example. It can be like as a camera, and you can understand where, who's, and where is going. But in other stuff, you can put some grenade, and by remote control, you can switch it, and it will fall. And Ukrainian people very likes video when grenades are bombing Russian soldiers' troops. And it's like our soldiers sends us like some bloggers such videos. They make some fundraising. For example, now we are making a fundraise for a car, for some pickup, for example, for soldiers, which is very useful item, and which is always you need to buy, and like kind of like cars, drones, they're very in need of it. And I think Ukrainians now about social media ask getting a lot of the war content, and it's, of course, it hurts a lot, but once Pierre advised me not to see so much news, but when it's your country, you cannot do it. And when you, for example, why it's motivating Ukrainians to donate money more and more when they see, for example, how our troops destroy Russians, because it gives us courage and hope that it will finish, and that we want to help specific battalion to do their work much better. So that's about social medias. And drones, like there are now a lot of people now in Ukraine who are trying to invent different types of drones. Ukraine now is the most mined country in the world, and with all the mines which didn't exploded. And now the government sponsors some projects for people who are inventing drones to unmine a territory, like to determine where's the mine. So yeah, technologicals are really playing a big part of the game now.
Thank you, Artem and Sam. Mike, you have a question?
Yes, Artem, thank you very much for your presentation. It was very moving and instructional for us, educational. My question is, if you go back 15 months, you're in Kharkiv. What is kind of the makeup of Kharkiv as related to Ukrainians and Russians? And did you get along when the invasion happened? Were your Russian neighbors supportive of Ukraine, or what was the attitude?
Kharkiv is a city which locates near Russia, and most parts of the city, if we cannot say all city, speaks definitely Russian at home. Despite we speak Ukrainian like in universities, in governmental structures and all the stuff, but at home most people in Kharkiv speaks Russian and speak Russian. And of course, it was a shock when people who you were friends with, most part of my friends have a family out there as well as I am. So we are very connected by our roots. And when Russians says that Ukrainians are punish Russian speakers in Ukraine, and in meanwhile, they're bombing and killing people in Kharkiv who speaks Russian at home, and in real life they speak Russian. And then now it's not even question. Of course, it's a biggest part now of people who are switching to Ukrainian language, because everybody can speak Ukrainian. It's just a question about how he was raised in which language. And even if some Ukrainian speaks Russian, he hates Russia. So it doesn't make any impact now on people who lives in the east part, because Russia front line is in the eastern part, and most eastern parts of most eastern Ukrainians are suffering out of the war. So that's how it is now.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
And Annette.
Yeah, I think that the Danish grandmother has to say a little as well, because by the age, I am actually the same age as Artem's grandmother in Ukraine. And I think that is also maybe, Artem, that we have had very good time together. We play games together and we have learned a lot from you. It is not that you have learned a lot about Denmark. It is that we have learned a lot about Ukraine, about your background, about a lot of things. One thing which I think I mentioned, when you came, you were a little still split in your mind because you have the background you have. But suddenly, and I remember specific one day, you had your slippers on, which were white and blue, and you have taken on some red socks. And we were laughing, you and I, because red, white, and blue, no way anymore. That is because it is the Russian colors. So in between, we had time also to do some laughing about everything, and that was really good. And it is so nice to see you becoming satisfied with the situation as it is, even that it is not the situation you want, but you have you have accepted that it is how it is. But in between, of course, it has been also very, very difficult for you to be in Denmark, but it has been a pleasure to have you staying with us, and we have learned a lot. So I can only tell the rest of the group today that it has been an experience of its own, but we would never, ever have done it without. So thank you once again, Artem, for your time being with us.
Yes, thank you too.
And we thank both you and Per, Annette, for doing what you did. It was the Rotarian thing to do, but it was awesome. So thank you. Susie, you have a question?
Yeah, more of a comment, but thank you, Artem, for sharing your story with us. That was extremely insightful, and it's painful to listen to, and I'm sure it was far more painful to experience. And as Americans, we don't have to experience that. And you know, I've never had to experience anything like that in my life. So kudos to you for your bravery and presenting this to us. I have another just sort of comment on the side. I see a lot of presentations done in PowerPoint, and you did an excellent job of putting your presentation together. It was clear, it was clean, it was great photos. You didn't have too many words on it. I see that. And just as a college student, university student, you've done an excellent job. You did an excellent job. So I would give you a star grade or an excellent grade or whatever you would do for the presentation you put together. It was very well done. So thank you for that too. So, and come back anytime you have some time. We'd love to hear from you again.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you for the opportunity to speak for you. It was also a good experience for me to tell about the story, because it's also good for me to tell about it, because it's also hard. And when you tell about it more, it's becoming a little bit in some way easier. So thank you.
Well, we're very happy you came, and I'm so happy you accepted our invitation to come and speak. It's just been a wonderful experience for us, and anything our club can do for you or your family, please let us know. We'd be happy to help in any way we can. So thank you again, Artem. You're an amazing young man.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna do, if there's no other questions, anyone? Oh, Susie, oh no, you're clapping, you're good. If there's no other questions, I am going to introduce some guests that we missed at the beginning. So we have Lynn Kenny. Oh, yep, Kimberly, you're clapping. Okay. So Lynn Kenny is from the Vero Beach Sunrise Club. Lynn, thank you for attending today. Always good to see you. Christine Stenkhaus, did I say it right?
Yes.
Okay, also from Vero Beach Sunrise. Thank you, Christine, for coming. I'm happy you are both able to attend. I thought that some of the clubs around might like to hear from you. Bruce, as always, thank you for coming. You're just a great person. I'm always happy to see your smiling face on the screen. So thank you.
Thank you so much for extending the invitation. I'm moved beyond words and just an amazing effort. Thank you.
I knew you would be. So thank you again for coming. And we have one non-Rotarian who we hope to make a Rotarian after July 1st, and that would be Jannica Ranta, who is from Finland, of course. So thank you again, Jannica, for coming to our meeting. Always happy to see your smiling face here. So thank you for coming.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for the presentation. And I have to say, it has been really touching to hear about it, because we have a border with Russia as well, and it was really big thing when the war happened in Finland as well. So thank you.
And you had an experience also.
Yes, we have had. So just thank you for the presentation.
Yeah.
Oops, somehow I muted myself. There we go. So this will conclude our meeting. Anyone that would like to stay on chat for a bit, you can. Feel free to. Again, thank you, Artem. It was wonderful. And I'm so proud when I'm driving around, even in the United States, and I see a Ukrainian flag flying, or when I'm traveling abroad and I see that Ukrainian flag, it just makes me so proud. So
yes, thank you a lot.
Hold on to it. You'll get there.
That means a lot, really.
Thank you so much again.
That was excellent. Thank you. All right, I'm going to drop off. All right, everyone. Thanks again. And it was lovely to meet all of you.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye-bye. And also, Per and Annette, thank you again for joining us as well as guests, and with your relationship and everything you've done for Artem. And again, if there's something we can help you guys with, please let us know. We'd be happy to help your clubs.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for
inviting
us.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.